For the past several years, as Hollywood entertainment has continued to disappoint at the box office, we've heard the same thing in the aftermath of the COVID shutdowns, and then, of course, the strikes that went on over the past few years. We heard everybody in the industry saying, survive till 25. Everything will be better in 2025. We have a huge list of things that are going to be smash hits. It's going to bring people back to the theaters, we promise. Well, it turns out Survive Till 25 did not exactly work out, because despite so many analysts and people in the entertainment business, studios, theaters, everyone's saying it's going to be over $4 billion this summer. Look at all these things that are going to be smash hits. Fantastic Four, Superman, no problem. It's going to be great. It didn't exactly turn out that way. And even just a few months ago, before the summer truly officially started, we had people talking about all these movies that would potentially hit $1 billion at the box office and that superheroes would be back. This is our year. It turns out that it's not. Summer box office clobbered by kryptonite. Domestic revenue barely matches last year. The May to Labor Day season initially soared, but global grosses took a nosedive as foreign movie ticket sales plunged further and a glut of male-skewing tentpoles battled for scraps in the U.S. I do love how they just had to mention that, these movies that are supposed to be made for men, they didn't show up. Why didn't men show up to these movies? I can't imagine why men didn't show up to franchises and IPs that have been completely and totally gutted. I can't imagine why that might be the case, but it's true. Despite people projecting well over $4 billion in 2025, despite the industry continuing to say, don't worry, we'll be back this year, it was not the case. And when you look through this entire year of 2025, which is supposed to be full of a bunch of smash hits for Hollywood, as movies, because of strikes or stuff like that, ended up getting pushed back to 2025, they thought they had a loaded year. But then what happened? Snow White bombed, Captain America Brave New World bombed, Thunderbolts bombed, and then we actually get to summer, things like Mission Impossible didn't perform like expected. That was disappointing in terms of its box office numbers. Superman, Fantastic Four, as much as people might want to try to spin this, both of those movies are very disappointing compared to what they expected after what they put into them. We've had one movie, Lilo and Stitch, that cracked $1 billion at the box office, and that barely got over the $1 billion hump. And although you've had a few movies like, say, Sinners and F1 that have overperformed expectations, everything else has underperformed. And we're just talking about domestically, not even factoring in how piss poor the international numbers have been across the board for Hollywood. And here we are. And maybe the best indicator of this entirely was Labor Day weekend. This Labor Day weekend, which turned out to be one of the weakest we've seen in history, we did have some new releases, but all of them got beat by Weapons, which is the only movie in theaters that crossed $10 million at the box office this weekend. And it's third weekend of release? Maybe even fourth, but I think third weekend of release for Weapons. And that's doing good. It's a good hold for Weapons. I really liked Weapons. I think it's doing well, but obviously not enough to save what we've seen this summer. And second is Jaws, a 50-year-old movie. The 50th anniversary of Jaws beat every new release from Hollywood. Caught Stealing. It beat Caught Stealing. It beat The Roses. Freakier Friday, still sitting there at fourth. Fantastic Four, all the way down to sixth. It is one of the most miserable Labor Day weekends that we've ever seen, as the people in Hollywood still scratch their heads thinking, I thought this was it. I thought we were going to be back. And then now the excuses will come out, because that's what we've seen every year since the pandemic. Whatever happened to the mantra survive until 25, the go-to refrain for theater owners and Hollywood executives trying to remain optimistic when the box office kept slumping last year, with revenue lagging well behind pre-pandemic levels. Perhaps the mantra disappeared this summer when it became clear that not even the likes of Superman or even bigger and scarier dinosaurs could save the day. As the summer season wraps on September 1st, Hollywood is facing a worst-case scenario. May to Labor Day ticket sales in North America barely matched the $3.7 billion collected in 2027, even if the deficit was only $7 million. Piling on, Universal's re-release of Steven Spielberg's 50-year-old Jaws beat two new studio films domestically over Labor Day. All assumed this year's summer lineup would have the strength to equal or surpass the $4.09 billion grossed in 2023. If you remember, that was the summer of Barbenheimer, two movies that were not expected to do as well as they were that just absolutely took off. But it isn't to be, leaving studio execs and exhibitors in a state of shock as they wrestle with how to operate in a new world order where moviegoing might never return to pre-COVID levels. I'm very, very nervous for the future, says one top studio exec. There are all these studios and companies making movies. I don't think there's enough of an audience for them. That is not a sentiment theater owners and many other studios share. They think the solution is more product delivered to their big screens. And it's funny because I know a lot of people want to have revisionist history when it comes to Fantastic Four and Superman, but the talk from a lot of people in the entertainment industry and a lot of people that shill for the entertainment industry was, we could have $3 billion movies. Which one's going to win July? Jurassic World, Rebirth, Superman, or Fantastic Four? Like, they could all three hit $1 billion. I never thought that was the case. My predictions were still too optimistic. Right? I said about $950 million or so for Rebirth. I said $700 for Superman and $650 for Fantastic Four. I was too optimistic on all of those things. Jurassic World Rebirth certainly did win globally, no doubt about that. Superman with a disappointing barely over $600 million, despite how many people want to shill and spin for that. And Fantastic Four, incredibly disappointing at, just a little over $500 million as we sit here. But this is the state of the industry. Survive till 25 was a lie. The trust that the audience used to have in the entertainment industry has evaporated. It takes a lot for people to take a chance on something now, and they have to prove over and over again that what they're putting out is worth the money that you have to spend to go to the theater for this product. And despite their lofty expectations, they fell well short because almost everything that came out this summer and most of the things that have come out this year ended up being massive disappointments and underperformers, regardless of how some people want to try to spin it. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.